Hey guys, HDV here and welcome to a brand new video. Today we've got some pretty big things to go over. A new rumor has popped up for Pokemon Legends EA suggesting that we're going to be seeing a new trailer next week. We have some miscellaneous Pokemon events that have been announced, and as well as that, some Nintendo Switch 2 updates have also dropped. Quite a few things to go over today, so if you're excited for the video, make sure to drop a like down below, leave a comment, subscribe if you're brand new, and let's get into the video. So, starting things off, we had the new Pokemon sales figures drop overnight, and it's a big winner for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet because as of March 31st, 2025, Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet have sold 26.79 million units, becoming the second best-selling Pokemon game of all time. They have overtaken Gold and Silver, and now they are just below Pokemon Red and Blue, which is absolutely wild because of the amount of issues that these games have, but clearly not enough to stop people buying the game. I mean, it's good for Pokemon because it just means it's getting bigger and better every single year, but as well as that, the fact that all the frame drops and everything, like, it's just really unfortunate that even though with all those issues, it's still selling so well. So hopefully they don't get lazy and they go, well, look at these figures, it doesn't matter if we release a half-finished game, they're still going to buy it. Hopefully they don't get that kind of mentality, and Generation 10 absolutely smashes it out of the park. I'd like to think that the reason that Scarlet and Violet didn't run very well was because the Switch just couldn't handle it. And when Generation 10 comes out, it's just going to be absolutely incredible. That's kind of what we're all hoping. As well as that, we have Joe Merrick saying it's worth noting that this is also the first time a second generation on a console has outsold the first. So obviously Gold and Silver didn't outsell Red and Blue, Black and White didn't outsell Diamond and Pearl, and then Sun and Moon also didn't outsell X and Y. And I think with the Switch 2 performance next month as well, it's just going to make this game even better, hopefully. So we'll have to wait and see. But either way, that's that. And then as well as that, we have a new event announced for Pokemon Cafe Mix. Cerebi here tweeting out saying, Cerebi update, the next Pokemon Cafe Remix delivery focus has been officially announced. Get Farfetch'd jaunty retro outfit from tomorrow, the 9th of May 2025. So that's just a quick update regarding Pokemon Cafe Remix. Moving on, we have some new Nintendo Switch 2 updates to go over. We have big financial planning from Nintendo because they expect to sell 15 million Switch 2 consoles this financial year. So we did just have the sort of Nintendo investor meeting last night. We went over it, I think, last week, saying that there were going to be some Switch 2 news this week because of this investor meeting, and it is still getting translated. This is kind of the first bit of information that come out about it, but again, we should be getting more and more information as the days go on, which we will, of course, will cover. But either way, Nintendo expects to sell 15 million Nintendo Switch 2 consoles this financial year, which is a lot, as the Switch 1 predictably grinds to a halt. So Nintendo forecast Nintendo Switch 2 sales of 15 million units by the end of 2025 and 2026's financial year. The company also expects triple that number of software sales, so 45 million, excluding bundled software such as the Mario Kart World Bundle launching alongside the base model on the 5th of June, which is kind of crazy because a lot of people are going to be getting Mario Kart World from that bundle. So the fact that they're expecting 45 million software sales, not counting Mario Kart World, is kind of wild. This forecast comes from the firm's end-of-year results for the 1st of April 2024 to the 31st of March 2025, published this morning. Looking at the stats, Nintendo managed to shift 10.8 million original Nintendo Switches in the last financial year, a 31.2% decrease year on year. Nintendo Switch 1 software sales were down 22.2% from the previous year at 155.41 million units, which included 2.97 million units of bundled software. This report shows that net sales of 1.164.9 billion yen, a 30.3% decrease from the previous year, which net profits 43.2% to 278.8 billion yen. Looking to the upcoming console, Nintendo aims to accelerate the platform by working to expand hardware and software sales through conveying the unique appeal of Nintendo Switch 2 and continuously releasing new titles. Notably, the report states that forecasts were based on US tariff rates as of the 10th of April. So for the purposes of our financial forecast for the next fiscal year, US tariff rates effective on April the 10th, 2025, US Eastern Time, are maintained throughout the fiscal year. Changes to tariff rates may affect our financial forecast. We will continue to monitor the situation to respond to changes in market conditions. And then they said, Nintendo's focus is naturally on the new hardware given the retail effect of the Nintendo Switch 2 announcement on the current model, with Q4 sales of just 1.26 million Switches in total following the January reveal of the successor, which makes sense. The Nintendo Switch 2 has been announced. It's unlikely you're going to go and then buy the Nintendo Switch 1, which isn't going to be obsolete because they're still going to be making Nintendo Switch 1 games, but the Switch 2's there, can play Switch 1 games, much better console, about $150 more, you're just going to buy the new console. And then it says, Nintendo still hopes to sell 4.5 million original Switches in the coming financial year though. Not too bad for a console in its 9th year with a successor that plays nearly all of its games. Elsewhere, annual playing users fell by approximately 1 million players to 128 million, and global sell-through of Nintendo Switch 1 units, hardware sold to customers as opposed to units in the retail chain, is approaching 150 million units. Digital sales were down 20. It's just extra like stuff. You don't really need to know about it. But the main thing is that they're expecting to sell a lot of Nintendo Switch 2 consoles when it does drop throughout this financial year. Coming up next, I wanted to go over this new rumor that dropped today for Pokemon Legends ZA. It was posted on 4chan, so as always, take it with a massive grain of salt. It's just titled trailer, and apparently we're going to be getting one next week. So again, don't take this as fact at all. A lot of us are expecting some sort of May trailer, and hopefully it is next week. I really hope so. But this one is, like I say, not to be believed until obviously we get to next week. If we do get a trailer announced for the 14th of May, then, you know, this is very likely true. But anyway, let's take a look at it. So it says, had access to the new Legends ZA trailer. I feel like if they had access to it, they would have dropped a new screenshot. I'm pretty sure this isn't a screenshot. This is taken from the last trailer. But I don't know. I feel like if you had that kind of information, you'd maybe take a screenshot just to show that you generally do know some info. But anyway, apparently they've had access to the new trailer. And it's dropping on the 14th of May. So that is next Wednesday. We're apparently going to be getting a new Pokemon Legends ZA trailer, which again, I really hope we do. We haven't had a full Legends ZA trailer since Pokemon Day, really. We've had like crumbs here and there from the Nintendo Directs, small bits of information, but I think one big fully fledged trailer is kind of needed, and it needs to show us a Mega Evolution, or it needs to show us something new to get people really, really excited. We haven't had release date, box art, any Mega Evolutions, any new Pokemon, any new forms, anything like that shown so far, and the game is supposedly coming out in, you know, September, October, November time. So they kind of need to show something as well, because they need to drop pre-order dates as well, because they can't expect people to be able to pre-order in a couple of months before the game comes out. They need to kind of drop that info relatively early-ish. But anyway, so it's dropping the 14th of May. The release date is apparently going to be revealed. I'd expect that. Like, I cannot see the next trailer not showing the release date. It's just something we need to see, because we're probably, after this, we're probably not going to get a trailer again until maybe like July time. And so they have to drop the release date before July, because if the game's coming out September, October, it's not a lot of time to get your pre-orders in and stuff. But anyway, the release date is going to be revealed. The box art is also going to be revealed as well. There is kind of information about the box art going around of what people have kind of seen from multiple sources. I think mainly Ball Guy, maybe the Terra, I'm not really too sure, but there is information going around about the box art. It hasn't actually been leaked, but the kind of design of it has been kind of revealed. I think it's like the protagonist, Zygarde, 10% form, something like that, like looking out to Lumiose City, or something like that. Anyway, but again, hopefully that gets revealed in this next trailer. It says no new Mega Evolutions are shown, which it wouldn't surprise me because of what Moot said, but I'd also be very, very upset if they didn't drop any kind of new Mega Evolutions in the next trailer. Of course, we do have Worlds in August, and they will show a new Mega Evolution then, because obviously it's Worlds, but that ain't for a while. We're only in May right now, so I think a new Mega Evolution like around now would be enough to kind of keep us going until then. But apparently there's no new Mega Evolutions. It says the new professor is shown. Again, very kind of, I guess, reiterating what Moot said. We covered it in a previous video where Moot said that I think there was going to be the new professor shown. They were going to show like Zygarde stuff maybe. They were going to show no new Mega Evolutions. They were going to show a couple of other characters as well, something like that. It's something, I don't know. I can't really vaguely remember, but it's something like that. Anyway, it says the new professor is shown. All Generation 1 starters in Sycamore seen. Again, apparently Sycamore does give you the Generation 1 starters in this game once again. Don't know if that is true or not. That's just what people are kind of expecting to see, judging on rumors and leaks and everything. So for him to be in the trailer would be kind of cool because it would show the Generation 1 stars. We know that they're in the game anyway because we've already seen Mega Charizard X and Y, but him like showing the stars would be kind of cool. And then it just says Zygarde 50% form. I assume that just means that it'd be in the trailer, but I don't know if it'd be attacking something or we'd be battling it or whatever. We've already seen the 10% a couple of times, so yeah, the fact that they just say 50% Zygarde form, I assume it's just going to be in the trailer at some point, and then that's everything they know. So yeah, a very vague trailer. Very similar to what Moot said, so I'm assuming this person is just kind of like piggybacking off what they've said. We also don't even know if what Moot is saying is true because, you know, they've said all this stuff about Gen 10, they've said this stuff about the next trailer. If this isn't right about the next trailer, then does that mean that Moot's information about Gen 10 potentially may be wrong as well? We'll have to wait and see, but either way, take it with a massive grain of salt. I wouldn't believe this until obviously next week, and if we don't get a trailer on the 14th of May, then of course this is fake. But let me know your thoughts on this rumor. I hope it's true, because I really want to see a trailer next week, but I also want to see more than this. Like, I want to see a Mega Evolution. But anyway, let me know your thoughts on this rumor. Moving on, we have a few more Nintendo Switch 2 updates to go over, which kind of finish off today's video. Some more information drops regarding the investor meeting, and it is the 5 largest Nintendo Switch 2 games by file size. We know that the Nintendo games are kind of dumbed down in terms of file size anyway, which is great, because it means you get more games on your console, as opposed to like PlayStation 5, where you can have like 3, and then you have to start deleting them and installing other things. It's a whole situation. But anyway, here are the 5 largest Nintendo Switch 2 games by file size. So if you're planning to download or purchase game key cards, you're probably going to want to expand your storage space with a micro SD Express card. And that's because the 5 largest Nintendo Switch 2 games by file size require over 300 gigabytes of space, with the largest game, Split Fiction, taking up 73 gigabytes alone. Here's the list and their file sizes. So again, these are all third-party games, which Nintendo can't really do much about. They can dumb their kind of file sizes down, but with these third-party, it's just kind of, it's each to their own. But anyway, Split Fiction is going to take 73 gigabytes. Madden NFL 26 is going to take 61.9 gigabytes. Hitman World of Assassination is going to be 61.5 gigabytes. Cyberpunk 2077 Ultimate Edition is going to be 56.8 gigabytes. And then Yakuza 0 Director's Cut, don't know why it says it twice, but that's going to be 47 gigabytes as well. Please note that the information provided in this list is accurate as of the 8th of May 2025. So some pretty big games, unfortunately. Again, I think Mario Kart World's like 20. So that, compared to Split Fiction, is kind of crazy. But either way, if you are wanting to download any of these games on the Nintendo Switch 2, you may have to start taking a look at a micro SD Express card, because it is probably going to take quite a bit of storage. Finishing things off for today's video as well, we have another day one Nintendo Switch 2 title confirming its price tag. So we've got Game Rant here tweeting out saying another day one Switch 2 title confirms its price tag, which is surprisingly low for what looks like a fairly full-featured game. Of course, the big kind of, I guess, annoyance of the Nintendo Switch 2 is the price of the games, the price of the accessories, and how much everything is just going to cost. We're expecting the worst kind of going into it with the games and stuff, but apparently this one ain't going to be too bad. So a day one Switch 2 game, Fast Fusion, has an official price tag of $15. This is surprisingly low. Figure will make it one of the most affordable Nintendo Switch 2 games during the console's early days. Fast Fusion is one of 5 Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive confirmed to launch with the console on its first day. Developed by German studio Shine and Multimedia GmbH, the upcoming title is billed as an arcade racer with an unapologetically futuristic world where anti-gravity vehicles aren't just possible but popular to the point of being a proper sport. Says some 6 weeks ahead of its planned release, Fast Fusion appeared on the eShop, with Nintendo's digital storefront listing it as a $14.99 product, which makes it one of the most affordable Nintendo Switch 2 titles so far. Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour will technically be even cheaper, but that's mainly because it's more of an interactive preview than a full game. Many fans have already criticized that move, arguing that the Welcome Tour's $9.99 price tag is hard to justify, especially coming from a company that once gave away Wii Sports for free. Which again, I still think it's absolutely ridiculous that they're charging us for a tutorial, but it is what it is. And then Fast Fusion was originally announced with a higher price tag. So immediately after Fast Fusion was announced during the April 2nd Switch 2 Nintendo Direct, Shine and Multimedia shared the game's press kit that had it listed as a $19.99 title. The newly spotted eShop listing hence suggests that the arcade racer has had its already modest price target reduced at some point since its reveal. While it's not impossible for an upcoming game to have an incorrect price listed on the eShop ahead of release, such cases are far from common. Fast Fusion is currently the most affordable racer announced for the Switch 2. At the other end of the console's launch game price spectrum is Mario Kart World with its eye-watering $80 price tag. The Mario Kart 8 sequel will be even more expensive in Europe, where it will retail for a whopping €90, which is $102. That said, the difference between these two markets is smaller than it might seem at first glance, because the US price doesn't include sales tax, which varies by state. In contrast, most European retailers are legally required to include VAT in their advertised prices. While Fast Fusion and Mario Kart World are both set to debut as Nintendo Switch 2 exclusives, only the former has a realistic chance of eventually reaching more platforms, as it's neither developed nor published by Nintendo. The upcoming consoles' remaining Day 1 exclusives are Bravery Default Flying Fairy HD Remaster, Survival Kids, and the aforementioned Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour. So again, if you want to buy a cheap game on Day 1 of the Nintendo Switch 2, then Fast Fusion might be something that you're going to be wanting to get your hands on. But anyway, that's going to be everything for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please do consider leaving a like. Let's try and hit 500. It does really help out. Leave a comment with your thoughts on the Nintendo Switch 2 price kind of details, everything like that. The gigabyte sort of, I guess, how big the storage is going to be and how big these games are going to be, the events, and also your thoughts on the rumored Legend ZA trailer next week. Anyway, thank you for watching. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Subscribe if you're brand new. Ring the notification bell. Until next time, peace.